And welcome to Out and About on the Recumbents for December 5th, 2022. Today's ride, the search for cheap Christmas cards, but no luck. Let's ride.
Okay, well, good morning. This is BJ, along with my wife Jo, and we're the Ondos, and we are also out and about on Recumbents here on YouTube. And I just want to welcome our subscribers. Really do appreciate you guys subscribing and checking us out. And to you, those that are new, a very big welcome. We're not doing anything fancy today. We're just doing an errand and necessity food items run, and we thought we'd take you along anyway. We got to go to the post office. We got to go get us some Christmas cards at the dollar store. Yeah, we're cheap. What can I tell you? With the expensive as stamps are these days, you have to cut somewhere. There's a whole bunch of riders right there. Those are fast people, though, which Joe and I are not. Joe and I are slow people. We're starting out from our apartment, and we're heading up to pick up the Rock Island Trail. Basically, we're heading to the junction of the Rock Island Trail and Shook's Run Trail, which one of these days, if the city ever decides to finish the Rock Island Connector Trail, we won't have to use the street here like we're doing right now, and we'll be able to go right behind our apartment complex and head right up the Connector Trail to get to the Rock Island or Shook's Run. It was actually supposed to have been started clear back in December of 2021. Well, it's December of 2022, and the city hasn't started it at all. And they can tell me what they want, but I know good and darn well they were waiting to see if a new they needed to renew the PPRTA 3 money source, basically, for the building of trails and fixing of roads and all that kind of stuff. So they just put everything on hold. Until they knew they had their money source. I guess I can't blame them. That's the way everything is. You can't get it till you get the money for it. So I'm pulling over to wait for Jo. She got caught at an intersection. But we live in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which I'm sure you guys have figured out by now. And the last few days have been very cold and solid gray and quite breezy. Well, today is about the same, except for the fact that there is actually a little sunshine getting through filtered high clouds. Not supposed to be any chance of snow or rain or anything really nasty, but today was supposed to be windy, and it is quite windy. I'd say probably sustained about 15 to 20 with gusts between 30 and 40, which were much better than a couple of days ago, where the gusts were closer to 60. So for some reason, it has to do with the mountains and the way the cold fronts come down and all that silly weather stuff. In December, we get some fierce winds, boy, at times. Up in the mountains, Actually down here off of Cheyenne Mountain Air Station here in Colorado Springs, they had a gust of 105 miles an hour, which I believe is at least a Category 1 hurricane. And I can tell you from experience that when I had our motorcycles, I was never fortunate enough to have a garage where I could just put in a battery tender, and keep the battery up. Well, motorcycles aren't like cars. They take the batteries, they're really small, so you pretty much have to put them on a charger, to keep the charge up enough to be able to start and spin the motor, spin the alternator. So you pretty much at least once a week, no matter what the weather was, you had to get your butt out there, and you had to get up to highway speed to charge the battery, because a lot of people don't really understand that unless you get up to 60, 70 miles an hour for a sustained 2 hours, you're really not charging your battery hardly any at all. Oh boy, we got a big old pile of trash here, and I'm going to move this shit the best I can. What a mess.
Go down to the next one?
Yeah, I guess we could do that. I was going to move it all, but guess we could do. You want to go that way or this way?
This way's fine.
Yeah, we can go this way. I forgot you can kind of jump on it over here. Although this is not my favorite stretch of street here, because it is very thin once you get past that tree, that bigger tree in front of us, right in front of us, not over to the side. And they come ripping around the totally blind corner at 40, 50 miles an hour. And then they get mad at you because you're using their road. So it's not my favorite way to go. I've almost had physical confrontations twice with this little piece of road here. And if they really want to get nasty, we both carry a 3.5-inch fixed blade knife on our recumbents. Yeah, it's a shame that you have to do that kind of stuff, but you'd be surprised how these young guys, and it's usually a young guy that causes the problem, but when they see that you're old, we're 67, 68 years old, and we don't know kung fu, and we don't have a gun, so we have to have some form of protection, or they will take advantage of us. It's a very sad state of the world, but it's the way it is, it's the absolute truth. The young will take advantage of the old. Just the way it is. Now, I mean, that's not everybody. There's a lot of good young people, whole bunches of them, but when you're young, you got that testosterone level, you're all spitting fire, So and you think you're right no matter what, even if you're wrong. Of course, there's a lot of older people that do the same thing on that, so it may not be so much age as it is just personality. Like I said, for me, it's always been a young man, I'd say, in the neighborhood of late 20s, early 30s, that has wanted to challenge me physically, basically wanted to show that he was stronger than I am and that I should back down. Well, I don't do that. I was a United States Air Force security policeman, and although, I'm not a Green Beret or an Army Ranger or anything like that. We were taught some, apprehension techniques So I don't back down easy. Now I will if I'm wrong, and I have. I've apologized that, when I'm the one doing the stupid stuff. But young guys don't feel like they should have to apologize for anything they do, which is a real shame. We're all human. Maybe both of them had a bad day, but first of all, you're in a blind corner. I mean, it's blind. You can't see around it at all. I don't care how tall your truck is. You can't see around it. And, the speed limit is like 20 miles an hour, And I said they will rip around that sucker at 40 to 50 plus miles an hour. And, do the giggle thing, Oh, see if we can break the tires loose on the corner. Ugh. So, yeah, that's just the way it is. Like I said, we're heading out to the dollar store, which is luckily about 4 miles out on, not that far, 3 miles out on the Rock Island Trail here. That's the nearest one to us. We don't have anything in our neighborhood for a dollar store, which is really funny because we have a lot of, well, there's actually a lot of rich people, but it's not us. There's also a lot of poor people though too, and a lot of small families and stuff. So I think a dollar store would be a pretty good thing, but we don't got one. This is the closest one there is. And we, even though we live on our Social Security retirement, don't really have enough money to send out Christmas cards. We like to send out Christmas cards, I mean, we can't buy presents for anybody. We're just too poor now. And with the Republican Party wanting to take away what little bit, I mean, we live on $27,000 a year. That's both of our Social Security retirement checks after working for, 50 plus years, well, actually 60 plus years of our life. Well, it wouldn't be that. 50 plus years. Because we're 67. I started work when, my first job, I was in junior high. I worked as a pin setter in a unautomatic bowling alley. Yeah, the old days you had to, what my job was is I basically had a small chair in the pit, back where the machine is, that drops the pins down. But in the old days, it wasn't automatic. Basically what you did was, after somebody bowled, threw the ball down, your pin setter would jump down into the cavity there and pin, as they called it. Oh no, I don't remember what they called the area, but and pick up all the pins, put them in a rack. The rack was automated, of course, and then pull a string, and it would reset the pins. The only bad thing about that job was that on the nights that the steel workers and the meat packers would show up for leagues, once they got good and drunk, and they drank a lot of beer. The bowling alley made a lot of money on beer those nights. They'd throw the ball at you even if you were down there picking up pins. And them steel workers, some of them guys had muscle, boy. They hit those pins so hard that they'd come flying up to where you're sitting. So you had to fend them off, Okay, I know we discussed how we're doing this, but how are we doing this?
We're going to Walmart because today's Sunday. We can't go to the post office.
You mean we're going to Safeway later?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. Thank you. Sorry, I started talking and kind of forgot our agenda. Gotcha. That's what I needed to know. So you've got a bicyclist coming down the trail here. Now this is the Rock Island Trail. And, you know, we talked about it a lot because Joe and I use this to go get food every week when we have enough money to buy a, you know, get a larger load of food. And so this is a very familiar trail. It's a poor beat up old thing. Now the newer section back there is concrete, and then once you get past on the other side of Union Boulevard, it's all concrete too. But this section here is an old section, and it's, until recently, you know, it was the one in the best shape, so they've never fixed it. Now though, it's been long enough that they really need to fix it. This part's not too terrible right here, but the next part, it just has these 2 to 3 inch wide, 1 to 3 inch deep cracks all the way across the trail. And I mean, when you're riding a recumbent trike with 20-inch wheels and no suspension, you know, these are like hardtail mountain bikes, you know. I mean the old days, you know, before they came out with even front suspension forks. Back in the days when I, believe it or not, was a mountain bike racer. Now, don't get me wrong, I was only amateur class. But when I raced, your mountain bike covered everything. It covered cross-country, trials, downhill. Yeah, I mean, it covered everything. And they had just come out with the new U-fork. Now, that's not suspension. It's just a fork that's shaped like a U instead of the old style regular street bike fork, because it was much stronger. But and sorry about that. Had to watch traffic that little intersection. Technically, it's us that's supposed to stop, but which we do. But I always, you know, if somebody's going to stop, I'm going to use it because, you know, they're trying to be nice. So both of us wish they wouldn't. We wish they'd, you know, just we have no problem waiting till. I know a lot of bicyclists do, but we don't. We wait till it clears and then we'll go. But yeah, as you can see, these cracks are just vicious, man. I mean, they are. They're really, really vicious. Now, some of them aren't too bad, but some of them are, man, I mean, they're big. They're large enough that they're, you know, in the spring and summer, ants are building colonies in them, you know? And the noise you hear will be me hitting one of those things. It rattles everything. I could probably make it a little less if I went to say the Schwably either Big Ben or Big Apple balloon style tires. But the problem of it is with we have Terra Trike trikes. And unlike many of the other manufacturers that have finally gotten a clue that even people with wide tires might just want you know, to have fenders when it's snowy and rainy and cruddy. And I mean, you know, look at this thing. That's how big that crack is. See if I can get my helmet to come down a little bit. Yeah, you know, it's 4 inches wide. Now that one's not too deep, but a lot of these others are really deep. And like I said, in the summer, you got ants coming out of the thing. They're building ant colonies in the damn things. So, if anybody from the city watches me, which I doubt, I'm sure they, I'm sure that somewhere in the trail section of the city, they have a picture of me and with a target around it, and they throw darts at it during their breaks. Because, unlike a lot of people, I am quite vocal. If I see something wrong, I'm going to tell you about it. And of course, I get the same answer from, you know, from the head of that division. You know, be patient, be patient, be patient. That's their only answer to everything when it comes to these trails. Which, now don't get me wrong. They have done several of the things that I have asked, and I tell you, I totally appreciate it, guys and gals. I mean, I do. It's awesome. But you know, Joe and I are 67 years old. We can't wait 30 years for you guys to fix this stuff. Or, you know, connect these trails. We will be long dead. Okay, I mean, that's the reality of life. We're not able to ride anymore. You know, you don't see very many 100-year-old, you know, even trike riders. So, I mean, I know there are a few, bless their hearts. They must have good ones, that's for sure, huh? But I have a very wicked arthritis called ankylosing spondylitis that affects all kinds of parts of my body. Even some organs. My bowel system doesn't work like it's supposed to because of ankylosing spondylitis. Well, that's, you know, when you think of arthritis, you only think of, you know, bone. But no, it affects all kinds of parts, especially these weird ones. And, you know, Joe's a type 2 diabetic. She's had both a major and a minor heart attack since 2019. She's doing well now, thank God. I'll put that in there. Sorry for you unreligious folks, but I do believe. Don't get me wrong. I don't do church. I don't believe in organized religion. I believe that if Christianity was true to itself, there would only be one religion, and that would be Christianity. Not Episcopalian, Presbyterian, Nazarene, Catholic, Methodist. You know, once you specialize into a certain religion, then all of a sudden it's man's version of that religion, of Christianity. It's not God's version of Christianity anymore. God doesn't divide us into groups, okay? If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. Period. And that's the way it should be. All right, we're at Union Boulevard here, as you can tell by the noise and the traffic. You can see Rock Island Trail here. To quote my friend the Grinch, all the noise. Yeah. Heavy traffic pretty much sucks, but don't really have any choice. Just have to put up with it. But at least, bless their hearts, one of the things that not the trail crew, because it's not their responsibility, but the city street crew did was put this light switch here to where you can reach it on a trike or a wheelchair. Man, I mean to tell you, that is so nice, because before you always had to get out of the of your trike and go kick it, so you can get across the street here. Like I said, now that we're across Union, You can see it's all the nice concrete, 12 feet wide, you know, and it's nice, man. I love me some concrete. There's Joe. She's cruising up on me. The old man's talking too much and not going fast enough. And there's her wingman. That's Stuart. At first we thought he was Bob, but Bob's a different character, so this is Stuart. So we call him Stu for short. So Joe always has a wingman. I'm trying to find one of the minions with the double eyes. I don't want the same minion, you know. So as soon as I can find it, and it's really weird. You think it'd be real easy to find, but actually they're not. The one Joe has, well, we found it on the ground. Somebody had lost it. Or like Joe said, looks like somebody threw it out a window. Because I can't get close enough with my camera, but the outside of the goggle, has a whole bunch of small holes in it. So I take it that's where it hit the ground. Because otherwise it's in darn good shape. But it was half wet and everything else, so the person that lost it, hopefully it wasn't a little kid, but there's just no way to, to get it back to him. So Joe adopted him immediately. Howdy. Good morning. And yeah, Joe adopted Stu and stuck him on the back there, and so she always has a wingman. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I've been replaced by a minion, man.
Well, you're my co-pilot.
Oh, okay. According to Joe, I'm the co-pilot.
Or pilot. And I'm your co-pilot.
But of course, now that we both are back on our own trikes, for a little while we had a recumbent tandem when she was recovering from her first heart attack, because she was very weak. Extremely weak, and she just couldn't do it, by herself. So we traded both of our trikes in, and we sold both of our trikes, and then we bought a used TerraTrike Rover, and put a lot of money into it because we changed it from one of those New Vinci CVT rear hubs, and only technically an 8-speed, to went to a full derailleur setup on the rear and a 10-speed. So and then we added a really expensive F-Neo internal bottom bracket drive unit up front, so we technically had a triple again. So we went from an 8-speed to a 30-speed, and man, the improvement was immense, because a recumbent tandem, especially a Rover, because it's all steel, and I don't mean chromoly, I mean steel, high tensile steel. So that thing weighed a ton. That thing was probably 80 pounds by itself, without a rider or gear of any type and stuff. So, but looks like we got a family up here. So we'll have to be careful because they got a little one. We don't want to hit no little ones at Christmas. That would suck. We got a bike coming back, so you have to stay where you are, and a runner coming down. So we're stuck. Okay, we're clearing back. We got dual strollers coming down, and this person on the bicycle is not going to be. Oh well, that was pretty kind. Technically the bicyclist. Well, I guess technically no, because he's coming downhill, so he's supposed to yield. Morning. Okay. Thank you, folks. Have a good day. Yeah, this is what they call a MUP, which is a multi-user path. See, to me, if it's cement, it should be a path. it really shouldn't be a trail. To me, a trail should be dirt. So I call it a mup. Technically, I guess it's a mutt, a multi-user trail. So, and you know, there's rules that it seems like we're the only ones that know, but there are rules for these trails. Number one, if you're on a bike or a trike, you are the lowest form of life. You yield to everybody. You yield to equestrians, or horsey people as I call them, walkers, dog walkers, runners, joggers, skaters, skateboarders. And a lot of people on bicycle are like, well, I'm faster and more important than you are, which is a real sad attitude. You know, first of all, why do you want to hurry? Of course, you know, some people only do their cycling, bicycling or tricycling, you know, for exercise, for physical gain, you know. Well, Joe and I don't. We're strictly recreation and transportation. And we love just to kick back and check out the scenery. Even though we've seen the scenery, about 75 billion times, doesn't matter. Man, when you get out on the trike, things are good. Even on a day that's semi-creepy, like today is. For once, I actually remembered both batteries. So I'll probably run this as a two-part, because my batteries usually last between 45 and 65 minutes. And I've got them marked with a plus and a minus sign, and the plus sign is really good. It can probably do, it'll do 70, 75 minutes. But this one with the minus is not near as good. So I'll probably only get 45 out of it. Morning! Thank you very much. There's a big old park here. They have a lot of soccer fields here. They play a lot of soccer here, I've noticed. Although they don't really have it set up as a soccer field. But there's a big empty part, you know, on the other side there before the homes. And in the spring and the summer, man, it's wall to wall. Okay, for you hardcores, football, not football. That's American. No, it's football. When you hear those announcers from different countries, they call it football. Got us a jogger here. Morning. And so like I said, you know, it's really wrong for you to get on these paths or trails and want to, you know, do your fast exercising. If you want to go fast, you need to be on the street. I know it sucks to be with traffic, but you know, one of these days, if you're just out here busting your can to get the best time you can on these trails or paths, you're going to hurt somebody. Or you're going to get hurt yourself, you know. What do you do if you're hauling butt and all of a sudden a dog crosses in front of you? Or a little kid gets away from his mom? Stuff happens. You're supposed to be going slow enough to be able to handle those situations. And if you're hauling butts, basically time trialing down these trails, guess what? You're not being safe. You're not following the rules. Maximum speed on our trails here in Colorado Springs is 15 miles an hour. Well, you get some young bucks on a fully carbon fiber 17-pound hardcore race bike, you know they're not going to go 15 miles an hour, especially if they catch any downhill. They're going to be kicking buns and taking names as fast as they can go. Well, and then when they end up hitting somebody or hurting somebody or themselves, they're going to, you know, jump up and down and blame the other person. But that's bull. You are supposed to be going slow enough that you can handle the situations that will come up if you use a mup or a mutt, a path or a trail. Gotta wait for Joe here. I'm still a little faster uphill than she is. Probably always will be. Not as fast. I used to be a lot faster than Joe, but I have to admit my arthritis is getting vicious in its old age, and I guess in my old age, and I'm not that much faster than she is. A little bit, maybe a mile or two an hour faster up hills than she is. And it's pretty amazing when you think that she's recovered from 2 heart attacks, and also she is sadly, her last COVID shot, which was her 4th one, and that was before before they had the new one for the Omicron, because I've now taken 5 shots, but she can't. She is one of the 1% of all the people in the freaking world that has built up an immunity, or an allergy as they called it, an allergy to the COVID-19 vaccine, which is a really horrible thing, because I was hoping she could at least get this last one, to help with the, because we got BA5 and BA4 and BA5, the meaner, the Omicron-y ones, running around Colorado still, and running around most of the United States and the world. Now, it's not at the epidemic levels that it was before, but it's still out there, folks. Don't, the minute you get all, oh, well, COVID's over, and it ain't over. And I guarantee you, it's going to morph. That thing morphs so damn fast, it's going to morph into something that we can't fight. And I have no idea why. I don't know if it's the Earth itself that has decided that humans are a virus and need to be gotten rid of, or if it's, if you're a Christian, you believe it's God coming down and saying, yeah, it's time, the human race sucks. Because a lot of the human race sucks. And Armageddon is coming. None of us really know. All we can tell you is what we believe. And the weird thing about it is, I almost think more of the idea that, the Earth has decided that, the only way I'm going to heal myself is to get rid of humans, because we, just like the Matrix said, we are a virus. We multiply, we consume, and we don't care. As long as we can get everything we want, we're not very good people. And that includes me and, Joe, I don't want to give up my trike. I mean, we don't own a car. So, we're a lot less than most people. But, hey, it takes oil. It takes metal. It takes chemicals to make, these trikes. The rubber, the steel, the gearing, the chain, hey, we don't have Star Trek replicators yet. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, I need a new part for my bike. I need this, and you just, boop, there it is. Man, that would be really cool. I would love it if we ever got to where there was no money in the entire, world. You just, everybody got a replicator and they could have, whatever they wanted, Oh, we did, didn't we? Shoot. Yeah, we'll do that. Sorry. Why did you? Oh, you couldn't catch me. You know what, though? It'd be really hard to get across the street. I think maybe we should just get up here, turn around, and head back. Okay. I think this would be faster in its own way. Yeah, we did too. I just blew right by it. Yeah, I blew right by our dollar store destination. Yeah, you should never get me talking. As you guys can tell, I don't shut up much. I enjoy talking. And Joe and I are definitely dressed. We look like the Michelin Man, you know. I think his real name is Bib, B-I-B. But you know, we look like the Michelin Man. We have on, you know, like we start with a wicking base layer long sleeve t-shirt. Then we have a jersey, and then we have a vest, and then we have on fleece and our windbreakers. So we are not cold at all. Not cold in the least. So yeah, we gotta turn around up here. Yeah, poor Joe couldn't catch me and say, "Hey, dummy, you went too far." Okay, so we're going to turn around here. And head back. I cleaned my brakes with alcohol, my rotors with alcohol this morning, and boy, I must have got some left on there or something, didn't get it cleaned off well, because it's squonking like hell this morning. So I'm going to have to kind of get some speed up here and put on the brakes really hard and get it to clear off the pad. I guess it must have got on the pad. I don't understand why. I didn't use that much alcohol. Hopefully a couple of these will get it off the pad. I will tell you, I put new brake calipers on. I put BB7s on the trike. Oh, are they so much better. I have serious brakes now. My old BB5s acted like they didn't even want to try to stop. Okay, I'm up to 15 miles an hour. All right. Hopefully that cleared off the pads. Either that or there was something a little meaner on the rotor and I didn't scrub quite hard enough to get it off. It's always hard to tell. I got to tell you, I would much prefer to have drum brakes. Now, a lot of people don't like drum brakes, but I've only had one trike with drum brakes. Everything else had discs. And all I can tell you is drum brakes are fantastic. They never need adjusting, you know, until they wear out. And they don't wear out any faster than, in fact, a lot less faster than the disc pads do. And they don't squonk. And they don't get really weird out of adjustment. So, to me, they're a large improvement. But even the trikes that, now, in the more expensive trikes, you know, the high-end trikes that Joe and I can't even dream of affording until she gets her Powerball or Mega Mill win, you know, out of the lotto. You can get those with with the drum brakes. But the medium price trikes and the entry level trikes, you're stuck with discs. And this one had, at the time, it was considered a good disc set. It had the Avid BB5s, and but I'm finding out that the Avid BB5s are not really as good a brakes as they said they were. The Avid BB7s are much better. And all I did was change, I had them change the calipers. I didn't change the rotors because I already had Avid rotors. I was pointing out to Joe that there was a car that might be backing up. So, all right, we're here at the store. So I'm going to turn off the camera so you guys don't get totally bored. Joe's going to go in and get us some Christmas cards so we can send out our cards. It's like I said, we just like to send out cards. It's a tradition, and even with how expensive things are, we don't want to change. So, all right, I'm going to turn you off, and we'll turn you back on when we get going. Bye for now.